All right, we're still talking about ideas, and this one is specifically about starting out ideas in essays, otherwise known as working thesis statements. By the end of this lesson, you need to be able to define working thesis statement and research question. You need to explain how to develop a working thesis statement from an essay prompt, and explain how to develop a working thesis statement from scratch without a prompt. Then you need to explain how this working thesis statement relates to the writing trait of ideas. So your keywords are essay, working thesis statement, from a prompt and without a prompt, and research question. Essays are just a type of nonfiction writing. They're characterized by developing your main idea through supporting points, and they're written in paragraphs. You guys are very familiar with this. It's one of the most common types of writing to do in school. They have a beginning called an introduction, a middle called a body, and an end called a conclusion. Main ideas for essays are stated in thesis statements. So when you get started, we'll begin with a working thesis statement, which is kind of like a rough draft of a real thesis statement. It's a thesis statement to get you started. This is where you begin developing your idea for an essay, and you can revise this thesis statement as that idea develops, as you learn new information that helps shape your viewpoint. You can develop a working thesis statement in one of two ways: using a prompt or doing it from scratch. When you're making a working thesis statement from a prompt, you need to start by identifying the question in the prompt. Then you restate the question in the form of your answer. This makes for a start to your working thesis. When you are working on making a working thesis statement, there are a few things you always want to make sure your thesis statements do. First off, they need to make a claim that can be developed. Think of this like an argument, something you can prove. They need to allow for room for research, so they may start out vague. You may not have a very definitive answer yet because you haven't researched your topic when you start this. And they always end in a period. These are thesis statements, not questions. So let's try this with an example. From a prompt, why do we give respect to senior citizens and people who are our elders? First step, identify the question. This one is kind of easy because it is already written as a single question. There's no layers, and it ends in a question mark. Why do we give respect to senior citizens and people who are our elders? So now we need to give our answer, and we need to restate in the process. Answer: senior citizens and elders are given respect for a variety of reasons. We haven't researched yet, so we don't have specific reasons, which means variety of reasons is vague enough to give us room to develop this thesis more as we research, but right now it's still definitive enough to be a statement. So this makes a claim. It says that there are many reasons that we give senior citizens respect. That's something you can prove or argue. We do have room for research, and it ends in a period. This is a statement, hence a working thesis statement. Let's try again with another prompt. If you could end any one problem in the world, what would it be and why? This prompt is a little bit different because we have multiple questions, and both questions need to be addressed in our answer. So again, we need to restate the question in the form of an answer, and this time we need to make sure we answer both parts. Here's a shot. If I could end one world problem, it would be the problem of intolerance, because I feel that is the root of all global conflict. So you see the underlined parts. If I could end one world problem, and because are restating the question, and the bolded parts, it would be the problem of intolerance, and I feel that it is the root of all global conflict, answer the questions that I need to answer. Is there an argument, a claim being made here? Can I prove something like this or try to? Yes, I can. I can also have room for research by finding examples of intolerance that has led to global conflict, and it ends in a period. It's a statement. One more example, because sometimes prompts don't come in the form of questions. Write about 3 values that are important to your family. This is an inferred question, so you need to restate it with a what are 3 values important to your family, and then you can restate the question in the form of an answer. 3 values important to my family are honesty, hard work, and compassion. It still makes a claim on what your family values are. You can prove or argue that. Research is a little bit different because this is a personal narrative essay, so you would want personal evidence like family anecdotes, and it still is a statement. But we don't always get prompts to develop our working thesis statements from. Sometimes we're just given topics, and this is where we need to come up with a research question, which is a question about the topic or a question you want to answer. And bonus points if you spot the typo, record it in your notes, and correct it. This is also going to come up once you have that question, you follow through with the prompt itself. So come up with your research question, and then you restate the question in the form of your answer, just like a prompt. You treat your research question as a prompt. Just like before, your working thesis statement needs to make a claim, it needs to allow for any research that you still need to do, and it needs to end in a period. It has to be a statement, not a question. So, looking at an example, if the topic of your paper is a future career, then you need to come up with a research question. What is my future career? Answer, my future career, restating the question, is being a writer, putting some career in there. Does it make a research question? Yes, it does. Did that make a claim in your answer? Yes, it did. There's room for research as to what being a writer would involve, and it is a statement. Let's look again. We have a topic on the golden rule. So, research question. What is the golden rule and why is it important? Oh, we have a 2-part research question here, which means we need a 2-part answer. Restating that question. The golden rule states that we should treat others as we want to be treated. This is important because it promotes peace and kindness in our communities. Make sure you get both parts. Made a research question first. The answer makes a claim. There's room for research, and it's a statement. One more. Oh, defining moments. This one's a pretty vague one. So a research question you might come up with is what is one defining moment in your life? One defining moment in my life was choosing my major in college. See how this one not only restates the question that you've created, but defines how you were defining a defining moment, because this is a moment that has changed the rest of your life now by your definition. So, again, we created a research question. We made a claim in answer to that question. There's a room for a collection of personal reasons why that was a defining moment, which would be your research, and there's a statement. These are all the elements we need to make a working thesis statement that we can build our essay off of. Working thesis statements, as a reminder, are the starting point of idea development in essays. This is where you begin to develop your ideas. They have to state a claim, and they must allow room for research, because this is just the very beginning, and your idea is going to develop and change as it goes. Make sure you finish your pear deck and have your notes ready for class.